My name is Willow Hart. I am 34 years old and I live in Chicago. For 7 years, I thought my life was perfect. I thought the silence in my house meant peace. I was wrong. Silence actually meant secrets. I was trying so hard to be the perfect wife that I didn't see the truth right in front of my face. My husband, Eric, wasn't just working late. He was building a whole new life without me. Everything changed on a Tuesday afternoon. I was sitting alone in a coffee shop, staring at my cold latte, feeling lost. Then, a man I had never seen before sat down at my table. He didn't smile. He didn't introduce himself. He just slid a thick brown envelope across the table toward me. He looked me in the eye and said, "Your husband is seeing my wife." I froze. My heart stopped beating for a second, but he wasn't done. He placed a heavy briefcase on the chair next to me and leaned in close. "If you move first, you lose," he warned. "But if you listen to me, we both win." That was the moment I stopped being a victim and started planning my future. But before I tell you how everything flipped, like and subscribe, drop a comment. Where are you watching from? My name is Willow Hart. I am 34 years old. After Daniel Reed gave me the envelope in the cafe, I couldn't look at my life the same way. It was like putting on a pair of glasses after being blind. Suddenly, I saw everything clearly. I saw the cracks in the walls. I saw the dirt in the corners. I saw the lies my husband had been telling me for months. I realized that the signs had been there all along. I had just chosen to ignore them. I wanted my marriage to be happy, so I pretended it was. But now, with the memory of those photos burning in my mind, I started to replay the last few months. It started with small things. Things that didn't seem important at the time. First, it was the phone. Eric used to leave his phone everywhere. On the kitchen counter, on the coffee table, on the nightstand. He never cared who saw it. He didn't have a passcode. Sometimes, if he was driving, he would ask me to read a text for him. "Willow, who is that?" he would ask. "It's your mom," I would say. "Okay, answer it for me." That was the old Eric. The new Eric was different. About 4 months ago, the phone became his most precious possession. He never let it out of his sight. When he walked into a room, the phone was in his pocket. When he went to the bathroom, he took it with him. When he took a shower, he left it on the sink counter, not on the nightstand. And when he put it down, he always put it face down, screen against the table. Always. One night about 2 months ago, we were watching a movie. His phone buzzed on the coffee table. It was face up for once. A text message notification lit up the screen. I glanced at it. It just said, "Message from B." "Who is B?" I asked. I wasn't suspicious. I was just curious. Eric moved faster than I had ever seen him move. He snatched the phone off the table. "Just a client," he said. His voice was tight. "Bob, from accounting, he's annoying." He typed something quickly and then shoved the phone deep into his pocket. He didn't look at me. He stared at the TV screen, but I could tell he wasn't watching the movie anymore. His leg was bouncing up and down. "Bob texts you at 9 p.m. on a Saturday?" I asked. "Ideally, no," Eric said. "But it's tax season soon. You know how it is." I didn't know how it was, but I let it go. I didn't want to start a fight. I wanted to enjoy our movie night. Then he changed his passcode. I found out a week later. I wanted to use his phone to check the weather because mine was charging in the other room. I picked up his phone and typed in 1 2 3 4. It didn't work. I tried his birthday. It didn't work. I tried our anniversary. It didn't work. "Hey," I called out to him in the kitchen. "Did you change your code?" He came into the living room wiping his hands on a dish towel. He looked annoyed. "Yeah," he said. "Company policy. Security update. We all had to change them to something more complex." "Oh," I said. "Can you unlock it? I just want to check the weather." He walked over, took the phone from my hand, unlocked it himself, checked the weather, and told me, "It's going to rain." Then he put the phone back in his pocket. He didn't give it back to me. I felt a little sting in my chest. Why wouldn't he tell me the new code? We were married. We shared a bank account. We shared a bed. Why couldn't we share a phone code? But again, I ignored it. Privacy is important, I told myself. He is stressed about work security. Then came the gym trips. Eric had never been a fitness fanatic. He liked to jog occasionally, but he wasn't someone who went to the gym every day. But suddenly, 3 months ago, he joined a fancy gym downtown. "I need to get in shape," he told me. "I'm sitting at a desk all day, I feel sluggish." "That's great," I said. "I'm proud of you." He started going 3 times a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturday mornings. He would leave the house with his gym bag and come back 2 hours later, but something was off. When he came home, he didn't look tired. He didn't have that red, sweaty face people have after a workout. He looked fresh. He looked happy. And his clothes, they didn't smell. One Tuesday, I picked up his gym clothes to wash them. I lifted his t-shirt to put it in the hamper. I smelled it. It smelled like fabric softener. It smelled like cologne. It didn't smell like sweat. I frowned. Maybe he showered at the gym. But if he showered, why would he put his dirty gym clothes back on? Or maybe he just didn't work out very hard. I held the shirt in my hands. I wanted to ask him, but I was afraid of the answer. I was afraid of looking like a jealous, crazy wife. So I threw the shirt in the washing machine and washed away the evidence. The biggest change, though, was the way he treated me. He stopped looking at me. When we talked, he looked at his phone, or the TV, or the wall. He stopped asking me about my day. He stopped touching me. We used to hold hands when we watched TV. We used to hug when he came home from work. We used to kiss, real kisses, not just pecks on the cheek. That all stopped. When I tried to hug him, he would stiffen. He would pat my back like I was a buddy, then pull away. "I'm just tired," he would say. "My back hurts." In bed, he stayed on his side. He built a wall of pillows between us. "I have a headache," he said one night. "I have an early meeting," he said the next night. "I'm just really stressed," he said the night after that. I felt ugly. I felt unwanted. I bought new lingerie. I bought a new perfume. I cooked his favorite meals. I tried so hard to be the perfect wife, thinking that if I was just better, he would love me again. I blamed myself. Maybe I'm boring, I thought. Maybe I've gained weight. Maybe I talk too much. I was tearing myself apart trying to fix a problem that wasn't about me. Now, sitting in my kitchen with Daniel Reed's photos hidden in the closet, I knew the truth. He wasn't tired. He wasn't stressed. He wasn't working out. He was giving his energy to someone else. He was giving his smiles to Brooke. He was giving his touch to her. He wasn't coming home tired from the gym. He was coming home satisfied from seeing her. The cologne I smelled on him wasn't borrowed from a coworker. It was the scent of betrayal. The late nights at the office were dinners with her. The business trips were getaways with her. I felt a wave of nausea. I had been sleeping next to a lie. Every time he told me he loved me in the last 6 months, he was lying. Every time he kissed me on the forehead, he was probably thinking of her. The realization made me feel cold, but it also made me feel something else. Clarity. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't paranoid. My gut had been telling me something was wrong for months. My body knew it before my brain did. That's why I had been feeling anxious. That's why I couldn't sleep. I had been right all along. I looked at the clock on the microwave. It was 8 p.m. Eric was in the living room watching a basketball game. He was texting on his phone during the commercials. I walked into the living room. "Who are you texting?" I asked calmly. He jumped. He hadn't heard me come in. He flipped the phone face down on the couch cushion. "Just Bob," he said. "Work stuff." "Bob again," I said. "He works hard." "Yeah," Eric said. He didn't look at me. "He's a workaholic." I looked at the back of his head. I wanted to smash a vase over it. I wanted to scream, but I didn't. "Do you want some tea?" I asked instead. "Sure," he said. "Thanks, honey." "Okay," I said. I went back to the kitchen to make the tea. My hands were shaking, but my mind was steady. "Enjoy your tea, Eric," I thought. "Enjoy your text messages with Brooke, because your time is running out." I wasn't just observing the changes anymore. I was preparing to use them against him. Knowing the truth is one thing. Seeing it with your own eyes is something else entirely. Daniel Reed had given me photos. I had seen the evidence on paper. But a photo is still just a piece of paper. You can put it in a drawer. You can hide it. I needed to see it for myself. I needed to see them together. I needed to see him be the man he was with her, so I could finally let go of the man I thought he was with me. It happened 4 days after I met Daniel in the cafe. It was a Saturday night. Eric told me he had a networking dinner with some potential clients. "It's going to be boring," he said while adjusting his tie in the mirror. "Steakhouse downtown. Bunch of old guys talking about tax law. I probably won't be home until late." "Okay," I said. I was sitting on the edge of the bed watching him. "Have fun." "I won't," he said with a fake sigh. "I'd rather be here with you." He leaned down and kissed my cheek. He smelled like expensive musk. He was wearing his best cufflinks. He looked sharp. He looked excited. He left at 6:30 p.m. As soon as his car pulled out of the driveway, I got up. I didn't cry. I didn't pace. I went to my closet and put on a black coat and a dark wool hat. I grabbed my car keys. I wasn't going to follow him. That was too risky. If he saw my car, he would know. But I knew where he was going. In the photos Daniel gave me, there was a matchbook on the table in one of the pictures. It said the Onyx Room. It was a high-end Italian restaurant on the north side of the city. It was romantic. Candlelight, expensive wine. It wasn't a place for boring tax meetings. I drove to the city. My hands gripped the steering wheel tight. I felt like a spy in my own life. I parked my car 2 blocks away from the Onyx room. I walked the rest of the way. It was cold, and the wind bit at my face, but I didn't feel it. Adrenaline was pumping through my veins. The restaurant had big glass windows in the front, covered partially by velvet curtains, but you could still see inside if you stood at the right angle. I stood across the street, in the shadow of a bookstore awning. I waited. I watched couples walk in. I watched valet drivers park luxury cars, and then I saw them. They were sitting at a table near the window. It was perfect. It was like a stage set up just for me to watch. Eric was sitting facing the window. Brooke was sitting across from him. I recognized her from the photos. She was stunning. She had long, wavy blonde hair that cascaded over her shoulders. She was wearing a wine-colored coat that she had draped over the back of her chair, revealing a sleek black dress. She looked confident. She looked expensive, but what killed me wasn't her beauty. It was him. Eric was glowing. He was leaning across the table, talking to her. He was using his hands to tell a story. He was animated. Then he threw his head back and laughed. It was a big, genuine laugh. I saw his chest move. I hadn't seen him laugh like that in 2 years. With me, his laughs were polite, brief. With her, he was alive. I watched the waiter bring a bottle of wine. Eric tasted it. He nodded. He poured a glass for her. Then he reached across the table. He took her hand. He didn't just hold it. He stroked her knuckles with his thumb. It was such a gentle, intimate gesture. I felt a physical pain in my chest, right in the center, as if someone had reached inside and squeezed my heart. That was my husband. That was the hand that wore my wedding ring. But he wasn't wearing it. I squinted. His left hand was bare. He had taken off his wedding ring for her. I felt tears hot and fast running down my face. I couldn't stop them. He looked at her with such adoration. It was the look he used to give me when we were dating. The look that said, "You are the only person in the world." Now, he was giving it to a stranger. I watched them for 20 minutes. I watched them eat. I watched them drink. I watched him feed her a bite of his dessert. She laughed and wiped a crumb from his lip. It was a scene from a romance movie. But I was the villain watching from the shadows. Or maybe I was just the audience, the irrelevant extra. I wanted to run across the street. I wanted to burst into the restaurant. I wanted to flip the table over. I wanted to scream, "That's my husband. He's lying to you. He's lying to me." I imagined the glass shattering. I imagined the silence in the restaurant. I imagined the look of horror on Eric's face. It would feel so good. It would be a release of all this pain. But then I remembered Daniel's voice. If you move first, you lose. If I made a scene now, Eric would know I knew. He would go into defense mode. He would hide the money. He would tell everyone I was unstable. He would spin the narrative. I couldn't give him that satisfaction. I couldn't let him win, so I stood there. I froze my feet in the cold Chicago night. I let the tears freeze on my cheeks. I watched my marriage die. It didn't die with a bang. It didn't die with a fight. It died quietly, viewed through a pane of glass from across the street. I saw him kiss her hand. That was it. That was the final nail in the coffin. I turned away. I couldn't watch anymore. I walked back to my car. My legs felt heavy, like they were made of lead. I got in and locked the doors. I sat in the dark car and screamed. I screamed until my throat was raw. I hit the steering wheel until my hands hurt. I let it all out. The anger. The betrayal, the grief. "I hate you," I screamed at the empty air. "I hate you, Eric." Then silence returned. I wiped my face with a tissue. I checked my reflection in the rearview mirror. My eyes were puffy. My nose was red. I had to go home. I had to be in bed before he got back. I drove home on autopilot. I don't remember the drive. When I got home, I changed into my pajamas. I washed my face. I drank a glass of water. I got into bed. I lay on my side, staring at the wall. 2 hours later, I heard his car. He came into the bedroom quietly. He smelled like wine and her perfume. He smelled like the lies I had just witnessed. "Willow," he whispered. "You awake?" I didn't move. I kept my breathing slow and steady. I pretended to be asleep. He sighed. He took off his clothes. He put his wedding ring back on. I heard the tiny clink as he picked it up from wherever he had hidden it in his pocket and slid it onto his finger. He climbed into bed next to me. He turned his back to me. I lay there in the dark, my eyes wide open. I knew the truth now. I had seen it. There was no going back. The doubt was gone. The hope was gone. All that was left was the plan. I wasn't just a wife anymore. I was a witness, and I was building my case. The next few weeks were the hardest acting performance of my life. I was living 2 lives. I was 2 different women inhabiting one body. On the outside, I was Willow the wife. I cooked dinner. I did the laundry. I asked Eric about his day. I smiled when he told me his boring stories. I nodded when he complained about his boss. I kept the house clean. I paid the utility bills. I was the picture of a supportive, loving spouse. But on the inside, I was Willow the spy. I was cold. I was calculating. I was observant. Every time Eric left the room, I was working. I checked his pockets. I found receipts he forgot to throw away. A receipt for a bracelet from a jewelry store. I never got a bracelet. A receipt for room service at the Palmer House Hotel. He told me he was at a conference. A parking stub from the garage near Brooke's apartment. I took photos of all of them with my phone, then sent them to a secure email address I created just for this. Then I put the receipts back exactly where I found them. I checked the trash. I found a torn-up note in his home office wastebasket. It was in handwriting I didn't recognize. It said, "Can't wait for the weekend, B." I taped it back together, took a photo, and then tore it up again. I checked the bank statements. Eric was clever, but he wasn't perfect. He used a separate credit card for most of his affairs, one I wasn't supposed to see. But one day, a statement came in the mail for a platinum rewards card I didn't know we had. I opened it, flights to Miami. He said he went to a seminar in Detroit, dinner at a steakhouse, hotel charges, thousands of dollars, our money we were supposed to be saving for a house renovation, money for our future children. He was spending our future on her. I scanned the statement and hid the original in my pile of to-be-filed papers so he wouldn't notice it was missing immediately. I met with a lawyer. Her name was Sarah. She was sharp, serious, and didn't offer me tea or sympathy. She offered me strategy. Suspicion is nothing, Sarah told me. She sat behind a large glass desk. In a divorce court, feelings don't matter, crying doesn't matter. The judge doesn't care if your heart is broken. The judge cares about assets. The judge cares about proof. I have proof, I said. I have photos. Good, she said. But we need more. We need financial proof. We need to prove he is dissipating marital assets. That means spending your shared money on his mistress. If we can prove that, we can get that money back in the settlement. He spent thousands, I said. Get me the statements, Sarah said. Get me everything. And do not, I repeat, do not, let him know you are leaving. If he knows, he will hide the cash. He will transfer funds to offshore accounts. He will gift money to his brother. He will make himself look poor on paper. I won't say a word, I promised, so I went back to the performance. It was exhausting. Sitting across from him at breakfast, pouring him orange juice while imagining throwing the glass in his face. Listening to him lie about his weekend plans while nodding and saying, "That sounds fun, honey." The hardest part was the physical contact, when he accidentally brushed my arm, when he tried to kiss me goodbye. My skin would crawl. I felt dirty. I wanted to scrub myself with steel wool every time he touched me. I started making excuses to avoid intimacy. I have a stomach ache. I'm on my period. I pulled a muscle in my back. I'm just so tired. He didn't seem to mind too much. He was getting what he needed from Brooke. That realization hurt, but it also made it easier. He wasn't chasing me because he had her. One evening, we were in the kitchen. I was washing dishes. He was leaning against the counter, eating an apple. "You know," he said casually, "I was thinking maybe we should sell the house." I froze. I turned off the water. "What? The market is hot right now," he said. "We could make a good profit. Maybe downsize to a condo downtown, get something modern." I knew exactly what he was doing. He wanted to sell the house so he could liquidate the asset. He wanted the cash. He was planning to leave me. He wanted to split the money, take his half, and go start a new life with Brooke in a modern condo. He was trying to trick me into selling my own home so he could leave me more easily. Rage boiled in my stomach. It was hot and acidic. How dare you, I thought. This is my home. I planted the flowers in the garden. I painted these walls. But I forced a smile. I dried my hands on a towel. "I don't know, Eric," I said. "I love this house. And the market might crash soon. My friend who is a realtor said it's better to wait until spring." "Really?" he asked. He looked disappointed. "Yes," I lied. "We would lose money if we sold now. Let's wait 6 months." "Okay," he said. "If you think so," he bought it. I turned back to the sink and let out a long breath. That was close. He was making moves. He was planning his exit. I had to be faster. I looked at the calendar on the wall. It had been 3 weeks since I met Daniel. I had a stack of evidence. I had the bank statements. I had the receipts. I was almost ready. Living as two people was tearing me apart. I was losing weight. I had dark circles under my eyes. "Are you okay?" my friend Lisa asked me one day at lunch. "You look tired." "Just work," I lied. "Just busy." I couldn't tell anyone, not even Lisa. If I told her, she might get angry. She might confront Eric. She might post something on Facebook. I needed silence. I was lonely. God, I was so lonely. The only person who knew the truth was a stranger named Daniel Reed. I touched the business card in my pocket. I carried it everywhere. It was my lifeline. It was time to call him. I met Daniel Reed again on a rainy Thursday. We met in a different place this time. Not the cafe, too risky. We met in a public library in the back corner where the history books were kept. It was quiet. It was private. He was sitting at a wooden table, waiting for me. He looked better than the first time. He was freshly shaved. He was wearing a crisp white shirt. He looked more focused. Less broken. "Willow," he said, nodding as I sat down. "Daniel," I said, "how are you holding up?" he asked. "I'm tired," I admitted. "Living with a liar is exhausting." "I know," he said. "Brooke told me yesterday she loves me. She looked me right in the eye and said it." I almost laughed. We shared a dark look. A look only two betrayed people can understand. "I have more," Daniel said. He opened his briefcase. It was the same black leather case. He pulled out a thick stack of papers. "I hired a private investigator," he said. "A professional. This isn't just photos of them holding hands anymore. This is court-admissible proof." He laid the papers out. "Item 1, he said. "The condo," he pointed to a lease agreement. "They rented a condo in Evanston, a luxury unit, signed 3 months ago. Both their names are on the lease, Eric Hart and Brooke Reed." I stared at the signature. It was Eric's signature. The same loop on the E that was on our marriage license. "They have an apartment together," I whispered. "Yes," Daniel said. "They call it their hideout. They go there on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's why Eric is at the gym." "Item 2, he continued. "The pregnancy test." My head snapped up. "What?" Daniel's face was grim. He slid a photo across the table. It was a photo of a receipt from a pharmacy. Item: pregnancy test kit. Date: last Tuesday, found in the trash of the Evanston condo. "Is she—" I couldn't finish the sentence. The room started to spin. If she was pregnant, this was a whole new level of nightmare. "No," Daniel said quickly. "The pie found the test in the bin later. It was negative, but the fact that they are taking tests, it means they are serious. It means they aren't being careful. They are building a family, Willow, while still married to us." I felt sick. I put my hand over my mouth. They were trying to have a baby. Eric told me he wasn't ready for kids. He told me he wanted to wait until his career was more stable. He didn't want kids with me. He wanted them with her. That hurt more than the cheating. That broke something deep inside me. "Item 3, Daniel said. He reached into the briefcase again. This time he didn't pull out papers. He pulled out a checkbook. "My wife comes from money," Daniel said. "Family money. I do well, but she has a trust fund. I tracked a transfer. She transferred $50,000 to a joint account." "A joint account with Eric?" I asked. "Yes," Daniel said. "They are pooling their resources. They are planning to run away together, Willow. I think they're planning to file for divorce in January. New year, new life." "That's next month," I said. "Exactly," Daniel said. "That's why we have to act now." He leaned forward. His voice dropped to a whisper. "I have a plan, but I need you to be brave." "I'm listening," I said. The sadness was gone, replaced by the cold fire of revenge. "We file on the same day," Daniel said. "We blindside them. We catch them off guard." "Okay," I said. "But there's more," he said. "I am going to offer you something. Consider it an investment." He wrote a number on a piece of paper and slid it to me. $100,000. I looked at him. "What is this?" "This is for legal fees," he said. "This is for a new apartment. This is for you to be safe. I know Eric controls the finances. I know if you leave, he might cut off your cards. I don't want you to be trapped." "I can't take your money," I said. "It's not charity," Daniel said firmly. "It's strategy. If you are weak, Eric wins. If Eric wins, Brooke wins. And I do not want Brooke to win. I want to destroy their little fantasy. Helping you helps me." He looked intense. He looked powerful. "Take it," he said. "Get the best lawyer in the city. Secure your future. When the divorce is final, you can pay me back if you want. Or not, I don't care. I just want justice." I looked at the number. It was enough to start over. It was freedom. I looked at the lease agreement. The pregnancy test receipt. They were planning to destroy me. They were planning to leave me with nothing. Daniel was offering me a shield. "Okay," I said. "I accept." "Good," Daniel said. "Here is the timeline." He tapped the table with his finger. "Next Monday, 9 a.m., my lawyer files the petition. Your lawyer files the petition. We serve them both at 10 a.m. while they are at work, while they feel safe." "Monday," I repeated. "That's 4 days away." Can you hold it together for 4 more days? Daniel asked. I thought about Eric. I thought about the lies. Yes, I said, I can do anything for 4 days. Do not warn him, Daniel said. His eyes were hard. Do not give him a hint. Be the sweetest, most loving wife he has ever seen. Make him feel safe. Make him feel like he has gotten away with it. Why? I asked. Because, Daniel said, the surprise is our biggest weapon. When they get served those papers, they will panic. They will turn on each other. And we will be watching. He closed his briefcase. The click of the latches sounded like a gunshot in the quiet library. Monday, he said. We end this. I walked out of the library into the rain. I didn't open my umbrella. I let the rain wash over my face. I felt cleansed. I felt ready. I had the evidence. I had the money. I had the plan. I drove home to Eric. I walked into the house. He was on the couch. Hey, he said, you're late. Sorry, I said. I smiled, a big, bright, fake smile. I was just picking up a surprise for dinner. I cooked him a steak. I rubbed his shoulders. I let him pick the movie. I played the role of the devoted wife perfectly. Enjoy it, Eric, I thought as I watched him eat. Savor this steak. Savor this house. Savor this peace, because Monday is coming, and you won't know what hit you. The 3 months following my meeting with Daniel were the longest months of my life. Daniel had told me to wait. He said we needed to let them get comfortable. He said we needed to let them make mistakes. So, I waited. It was November, then December, then January. Living with Eric during this time was like living in a museum. Everything looked perfect on the outside, but inside it was cold and empty. I had to wake up every morning and put on a mask. I had to smile when I wanted to scream. I had to cook dinner for a man who was betraying me. I had to sleep in the same bed as a man who smelled like another woman. But I did it. I did it because I had a goal. Eric became very comfortable. He thought he was a genius. He thought he had tricked me completely. Because I wasn't asking questions anymore, he stopped being careful. He started leaving his phone on the table again. He started coming home later and later without even making up a good excuse. Working late, he would say, barely looking at me. Okay, I would say. I kept a plate warm for you. I wasn't just waiting, though. I was working. Every Tuesday, I met with my lawyer, Sarah. I brought her everything. I brought her copies of his credit card statements. I brought her photos of the texts I managed to see. I brought her the logs of his toll road pass, which showed him driving to Evanston 3 times a week. Sarah was impressed. This is good, Willow, she said. This is a fortress. He won't be able to deny anything. But the hardest part wasn't the legal work. It was the emotional work. I remember Christmas Eve. We went to Eric's parents' house. His mother hugged me. His father shook my hand. They were good people. They loved me. They had no idea what their son was doing. We sat around the Christmas tree opening gifts. Eric gave me a scarf. It was gray. It was wool. It was boring. It looked like something he bought at the airport gift shop 5 minutes before coming home. Thanks, honey, I said. I love it. I gave him a watch. An expensive watch. I used our joint account to pay for it. Wow, he said. Willow, this is too much. Nothing is too much for you, I said. He looked guilty for a split second, just a second. Then he put the watch on and smiled. You're the best wife, he said. I almost threw up. Later that night, I saw him texting in the bathroom. I knew he was texting Brooke. He was probably wishing her a Merry Christmas. He was probably telling her he missed her. I sat on the edge of the guest bed in his parents' house and stared at the wall. Enjoy this Christmas, Eric, I thought. Because next year you will be alone. Daniel and I texted sometimes. We used a secure app that deleted the messages automatically. Daniel, Brooke bought a new dress for New Year's. She thinks we are going to a gala. She doesn't know I canceled the tickets. Me. Eric thinks we are looking for a vacation home in Florida. I sent him listings today. Daniel, good, keep him distracted, keep him blind. We were a team. 2 people bound by pain, working together to take back our power. The waiting was painful, but it gave me clarity. I realized that I didn't love Eric anymore. I couldn't love him. You can't love someone who treats you like an option. The love had turned into something else. It had turned into pity. I looked at him and I saw a weak man. A man who needed constant validation. A man who needed 2 women to make him feel like a king. He wasn't a king, he was a cheater. And cheaters are small people. By the end of January, I was ready. I had the money Daniel gave me in a separate account in a different bank. I had a new apartment lined up. It was a small studio in the city, but it was mine. I had signed the lease and paid the deposit. I hadn't moved anything in yet, but the keys were in my purse. I was ready to jump. I just needed the signal. February came. The weather was brutal. Snowstorms buried Chicago. The cold was relentless. Eric made his biggest mistake in the first week of February. He got careless with the cloud. We shared a family plan for our phones and devices. Usually, he kept his settings private. But one night, after he had too much wine at dinner, he must have clicked the wrong button on his iPad. I was in the living room the next morning. He was in the shower. I picked up the iPad to check the weather. Suddenly, photos started populating the stream. Ping, ping, ping. They weren't photos of the weather. They were photos of a house, not our house, and not the condo in Evanston. It was a large, modern house in the suburbs. There were photos of the kitchen, photos of the master bedroom, and then a screenshot of a conversation. It was a text thread with a realtor. Realtor, the seller accepted the offer. Eric, congratulations. Eric, great news. Brooke will be thrilled. We want to close by March 1st. Realtor, understood, just need the deposit check. I stared at the screen. My hands went cold. He wasn't just renting a condo with her. He was buying a house with her. He was buying a house with our money. The deposit check would have to be huge. 50,000, 100,000. If he wrote that check, our savings would be gone. He was planning to drain our accounts before filing for divorce. He was going to steal my future to build his new life with her. Panic rose in my throat. I wanted to run into the bathroom and shake him, but I stopped myself. If you move first, you lose. I took photos of the iPad screen with my phone. I captured everything: the house address, the realtor's name, the confirmation of the offer, the date. Then I put the iPad back exactly where it was. I ran to the kitchen and called Daniel. My hands were shaking so hard I dropped the phone twice. Daniel, I whispered, we have a problem. What is it? He asked. He sounded awake and alert. He's buying a house, I said. With her. He's going to use our savings for the deposit. He wants to close by March 1st. There was silence on the other end of the line. March 1st, Daniel said. That's 3 weeks away. We can't wait anymore, I said. If he moves that money, it will take years to get it back in court. I can't let him steal everything I worked for. You're right, Daniel said. We have to accelerate. When? I asked. Monday, Daniel said. This coming Monday. We are done waiting. We are done planning. It's time to execute. Are you sure? I asked. I'm sure, Daniel said. Brooke told me last night she wants a divorce. She said she needs to find herself. She doesn't know I know about Eric. She thinks she's letting me down gently. Eric hasn't said anything to me, I said. He's a coward, Daniel said. He's waiting until the house is secured. He wants to have his new nest ready before he kicks you out of the old one. I felt a surge of anger so strong it made me dizzy. Eric was going to blindside me. He was going to throw me out on the street after 7 years of marriage. He didn't care about me at all. I was just an obstacle to him. Monday, I said. Let's do it. Get your paperwork ready, Daniel said. Tell Sarah to file at 9 a.m. sharp. My lawyer will do the same. We will serve them at 10 a.m. Okay, I said. Willow, Daniel said. Yes, this weekend. It's going to be hard, he said. It's the last weekend of the lie. Act normal. Do not let him suspect anything. If he smells fear, he will move the money. I won't let him see anything, I promised. That weekend was a blur. I packed a go bag and hid it in the trunk of my car. Just clothes, documents, and some jewelry. I moved half of the money from our joint savings account to my private account. Not all of it, that would trigger an alert. Just enough to be safe. I told the bank it was for a surprise renovation. Sunday night, we ordered pizza. Eric sat on the couch, eating a slice of pepperoni pizza. He looked relaxed. He was texting on his phone. Probably telling Brooke about the new house. This is nice, he said. Quiet night in. Yeah, I said. Very peaceful. I looked at him. I memorized his face, the curve of his nose, the way his hair fell over his forehead. I was saying goodbye, not with words but with my eyes. I was saying goodbye to the husband I thought I had. I was saying goodbye to the life I thought I would live. Enjoy your pizza, Eric, I thought. It's your last meal as a free man. What are you thinking about? He asked, catching me staring. Just the future, I said with a small smile. The future looks good, he said, smirking. He thought I meant our future. He thought I was stupid. Yes, I said. It really does. I went to bed early. I needed to sleep. I needed to be strong. Tomorrow was Monday. Tomorrow was war. Monday morning broke cold and bright. The sun was shining off the snow. It was a beautiful day for a revolution. I woke up at 6 a.m. I made coffee. I made pancakes. I wanted everything to be normal. Eric came down at 7 a.m. He was wearing his navy blue suit, the one he wore when I first saw the photo of him with Brooke. Pancakes? He asked. What's the occasion? Just felt like it, I said. Big day today. Oh, he asked. What's happening today? Just work stuff, I said. I have a feeling it's going to be a productive day. He ate quickly. He checked his watch. I gotta run, he said. Meeting at 9 o'clock. He kissed me on the cheek. See you tonight, he said. See you, I said. I watched him walk out the door. I watched him get in his car. I watched him drive away. As soon as his taillights disappeared, I moved. I ran to the phone. I called Sarah. Do it, I said. Filing now, she said. The process server is already on his way to Eric's office. He will be there at 10 a.m. I called Daniel. It's done, I said. Same here, Daniel said. Brooke is at her office. My server is walking in the building now. I sat down at the kitchen table. The house was silent. Now I just had to wait. 10 a.m. came. I stared at the clock. Tick, tick, tick. I imagined the scene. Eric sitting in his glass-walled office. Feeling important, feeling safe, the receptionist knocking on the door. Mr. Hart, there is a delivery for you. A man walking in, handing him a thick envelope. Eric Hart, you are served. Eric opening the envelope. Seeing the divorce petition. Seeing the motion to freeze assets. Seeing the evidence list attached. Exhibit A, photos of infidelity. Exhibit B, receipt for condo. Exhibit C, text messages. I imagined his face turning pale. I imagined him reaching for his phone to call Brooke. But Brooke wouldn't answer, because she was getting served at the exact same moment. 10:15 a.m. My phone rang. It was Eric. I stared at the screen. Hubby calling. I let it ring. I didn't answer. It rang again and again. He left a voicemail, then a text. Willow, what is this? Willow, pick up the phone. Are you crazy? We need to talk. I turned my phone off. I didn't want to talk. I had nothing to say to him. My lawyer would do the talking now. I stood up. I walked around the house. I touched the walls. I touched the furniture. This house wasn't my home anymore. It was a crime scene. I went upstairs and packed the rest of my things. I took my clothes. My books, my grandmother's jewelry box. I left everything else. The furniture, the TV, the dishes, I didn't want any of it. It was all tainted. At 11 a.m., Daniel called me on my second phone, a burner phone we had bought just for this day. Did he call? Daniel asked. Yes, I said. I didn't answer. Good, Daniel said. Brooke called me screaming. She asked how I knew. I told her I've known for months. She hung up on me. Did you freeze the accounts? I asked. Yes, Daniel said. The emergency order went through at 9:30 a.m. The joint accounts are locked. They can't move a penny. The deposit for their new house, it's gone. They can't write the check. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. We did it, we stopped them. What now? I asked. Now we let them panic, Daniel said. Go to your new apartment, Willow, turn off your phone, take a nap, you've earned it. Thank you, Daniel, I said. Thank you, Willow, he said. We survived. I walked out of the house. I locked the front door. I put the key under the mat. I got in my car and drove to the city. I drove to my new studio apartment. It was small. It had bare white walls and a view of a brick alley. But it was beautiful. It was quiet. It was mine. I sat on the floor of the empty apartment and cried, not tears of sadness, tears of relief. The lie was over. The acting was over. I was Willow Hart again, and I was free. The divorce process was ugly, but it was quick. Because we had so much evidence, there was nothing Eric could really do. He tried to fight at first. He hired a loud, expensive lawyer who tried to bully me. Mrs. Hart is being vindictive, the lawyer said in the first hearing. She is invading my client's privacy. My lawyer, Sarah, was calm. She simply laid the documents on the judge's bench. Your Honor, Sarah said, Mr. Hart spent $45,000 of marital funds on a condo for his mistress. He attempted to spend another $80,000 on a down payment for a new home while still married. This is not vindictiveness. This is dissipation of assets. The judge was a stern woman with glasses. She looked at the documents. She looked at Eric. Eric was shrinking in his seat. He looked tired. He looked smaller than I remembered. Mr. Hart, the judge said, is this true? Eric tried to speak. Your Honor, it's complicated. It looks very simple to me, the judge said. The court was clinical. It stripped away all the drama. In my kitchen, the affair was a tragedy. In the courtroom, it was just math. Amount spent on affair, X amount owed to wife, Y. The judge ordered Eric to pay me back half of every dollar he spent on Brooke. She ordered him to pay my legal fees. She gave me 60% of the house sale proceeds because of his financial misconduct. It was humiliating for him. Every lie he told was read out loud by the court reporter. Every hotel receipt was shown on a screen. I sat there and watched him. I didn't feel happy. I didn't feel sad. I just felt numb. This was the man I had vowed to spend my life with, and now he was just a defendant in a lawsuit. Brooke was there too, in the back of the room. She looked terrible. She wasn't wearing the wine-colored coat. She was wearing a plain gray sweater. She looked pale. She had lost her husband. Daniel had divorced her swiftly. He had a prenup, and because of her infidelity, she walked away with very little. And now, Eric was broke too. The rich boyfriend she thought she had snagged was being stripped of his assets by the court. Their fantasy had crumbled. Without the secrecy, without the thrill, without the money. They were just two unhappy people sitting in a cold room. I looked at Brooke. She met my eyes. She looked away first. She was ashamed. After the final ruling, Eric tried to talk to me in the hallway. "Willow," he said. I turned to face him. He looked old. His suit was wrinkled. "I'm sorry," he said. "I really am. I made a mistake. I lost everything." I looked at him. I remembered the nights I waited up for him. I remembered the lies. I remembered the pain. "You didn't lose everything, Eric," I said. "You threw everything away. There is a difference. Can we ever be friends?" he asked. I laughed. It was a short, dry laugh. "No," I said. "I don't befriend strangers, and I realized recently, I never really knew you." I turned around and walked away. I heard his footsteps stop. He didn't follow me. I walked out of the courthouse and into the sunshine. Sarah was waiting for me. "You did good," she said. "It's over?" I asked. "It's over," she said. "You are divorced. The money will be transferred to your account by Friday." I took a deep breath. The air smelled like spring. The winter was finally over. It has been 6 months since the court case ended. My life is very different now. I am still Willow Hart. But I am a different version of her. I bought a small cottage near the lake. It has a garden. I planted tulips and daffodils. I painted the kitchen yellow, a bright, happy yellow. Eric hated yellow. He said it was too loud. I love it. I work at the library full-time now. I was promoted to head archivist. I love the quiet of the books. I love organizing things. I see Daniel sometimes. We aren't dating. We are friends. We are bound by what we went through. We meet for coffee at the same cafe where we first met. But now we sit at a different table, and we smile. "How is the cottage?" he asked me last week. "It's perfect," I said. "How is the new business?" "Booming," he said. "I'm traveling to London next week." "Good for you," I said. We never talk about Eric or Brooke anymore. They are in the past. They are shadows that faded when the light turned on. I heard rumors, though. I heard they broke up 2 months after the divorce. Without the money and the excitement, they turned on each other. Eric blamed her for his bankruptcy. She blamed him for losing her lifestyle. They are both miserable. But their misery doesn't bring me joy. It just brings me indifference. I don't care about them. I don't hate them. Hate takes too much energy. I need my energy for my garden, for my books, for my friends. I sit on my porch in the evenings and watch the sunset over the lake. It is quiet, but it is a different kind of quiet than the one I had with Eric. That was a silence of suppression, a silence of secrets. This is a silence of peace. I am alone, but I am not lonely. I have myself, and I like myself. I learned that I am stronger than I thought. I learned that the truth hurts, but it heals. Lies are like painkillers. They make you feel better for a while, but they don't fix the wound. The truth is the surgery. It leaves a scar, but it saves your life. I look at the scar on my heart sometimes. It reminds me of what I survived. It reminds me that I didn't let them destroy me. I fought back. I stood tall. And I won. My name is Willow Hart, and I am finally, truly free. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed my story. Drop a comment and tell me where you are watching from.